no matter what it takes, at all costs, within the confines of the rules.
Yeah.
I'm going to stomp you out.
I used to have my old colour iPod. The first time I had a colour iPod with a little screen, I used to watch Vanderlei Silva highlights before I used to walk out Cage Warriors.
I mean, tell me another fighter. He's probably a case on his own.
He's the most savage, I would think.
The most violent fighter.
Yeah.
Like,
I would put Robbie Lawler a close second.
Not the same.
No.
Robbie Lawler.
But then Robbie Lawler in Pride, though, do you think, with
look,
head stomps
Robbie
and knees to the
Lawler's
head?
A respected, revered savage.
Yeah.
Absolute animal. But Vanderlei Silva
Different.
is in a category of his own, mate. Go back and look at,
Yeah.
when I'm standing in the corner by the turnbuckle with my left hand on one rope, my right hand on another, and I'm fucking literally stamping you on the face and head. There's no marshal in there, nothing.
He was an animal.
He was
I used to love
fucking
watching him
vicious.
fight. Yeah. It's just
Vicious.
it's that cold,
Yeah.
like great white shark, black pupils kind of.
But then you get that, and like he was always like, he was jittery and moving around. You could tell, like, incredibly channeling that nervousness the right way. Like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
But then you see him come upon somebody a lot more considered. Like, remember the Crow Cop fight? Crow Cop, again, he's stone cold killer. He would come out dead on.
Yeah.
Like shark eyes to shark eyes, looking right at him, not even moving, thinking you know what's coming. He knocked him out, didn't he?
Yeah.
Head kick.
Yeah.
You got
Did
someone
you remember
like
the
that.
bruise on his body, though? You could see the toes on from Crow Cop.
The footprint.
Yeah.
Them guys, mate, just... Yeah, there's all different kinds of...
Shogun was a bit like that as well in the early
Animal.
days. Yeah.
He's another one you see like in Pride Rules, soccer kicks to the face
Yeah.
and stamping. Pride was amazing in it. I do miss it.
Yeah.
In fact, funny little story before we move on to the topic of our discussion. When I was with, I'm working with Karate Combat a lot, and obviously seeing Bass again, Bass Rutten, MMA legend, right?
Legend.
And I showed him the video. He actually posted it on his, because he said I'd never saw it. The highlight, the Pride highlight by Boondock,
Right.
with the what do you call it? The music in the background.
Yeah.
What's it called? Rob Duggan or
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I can't remember the name. Anyway, but this is a world famous highlight, and I managed to find it, and I showed him. We was at the bar afterwards, and he was like, he was mesmerised.
Yeah.
And I went, "What do you mean you've never seen this?" And he went, "I've never seen it." He was fucking blown away.
Really?
Well, you could
Like
see
those
him all
opening
like
ceremonies and
emotional.
stuff.
And of course, Bass was there.
Yeah.
How much of that he was actually physically there
Yeah,
for it?
him and Stephen
Pride was the
Quadros.
shit.
Him and Stephen Quadros.
It was amazing,
Yeah,
Pride, when
it
you
was.
look back in it, and how many of those fighters were still going up until recently. Shogun, fairly recently.
Yeah.
Vanderlei a few years ago now, obviously Big Nog.
Yeah. Overeem still going.
Overeem. I swear, it's a funny story. I saw Overeem in KSW a few months ago, and he's looking fucking really, really trim.
Yeah. He's fighting October, is it? On Glory? I think he's got a Glory
he's fighting.
fight.
What do you call it? Is it Badder?
Is it Badr Hari? Yeah, I think it is.
Or is
Grudge
it?
match.
Or is it? But yeah, I think it's Badder.
not sure.
Anyway, and he was saying about, "I'm not done yet with MMA." I was like, "Oh, will you come there?" And he was looking really, really trim, like really in good shape. And I said to him, I always had a good rapport with him. I refed him a few times, obviously, throughout the years. And I said, "Oh, you're looking trim." And he looked at me like, I think he said, "Look, it's him." And as I said that, he's like looked at me, he's pulled a double bicep. And I went, "No," I said, "You're looking trim, you're looking in great shape." I think he thought I was saying, "Oh, you're looking
So
like..."
he was showing you the guns.
He was like flexing, showing me.
Yeah.
I said, "Look, I know you bit," you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
was showing me, like, he went all cat on me, spread out to the side. And I was like, "I know you're still big, I know you're big," but I think he thought I meant slim as in losing size. I said, "No,
Right,
you're looking
right.
trim, you're looking in great shape.
Yeah.
Relax."
Mate, he's had like 5 different careers. He has.
Man.
I remember after he got his lip bust open by Rosenstrike, and then a week later he was in Korea doing a Q&A on stage.
Man.
And I just don't even know how he healed so quickly. His career's been amazing,
He's had longevity in he.
hasn't he?
Started
Yeah.
so young.
And so many different styles as well. Going from kickboxing to guillotines to, you know what I mean, to being a takedown artist with good elbows and knees.
Pride, K1. He won K1, right?
Yeah, K1 champ.
Legitimately
Pride
won
champ.
K1. Pride. Remember what he did to Chuck Liddell?
Mate, I ain't watched that.
It was
in
him,
years.
wasn't it?
Well, Rampage did Chuck as well, didn't he?
Was it? No. Chuck beat what do you call it? Chuck beat. I'm sure Chuck.
Did he? I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah, I
been a
think
long
it
while.
was because that was the whole thing about when Dana said that's why they'll never co-promote anymore because they knew like what the Japanese were there obviously to highlight their fighters.
Yeah.
And I think that's what. Yeah, Chuck beat Alistair in the
Right.
end, but I think he was getting the upper hand.
I'm gonna watch that
in more
later.
ways than one. Yeah, I need to
Yeah,
remind
I'm gonna
me.
watch
Yeah,
that later.
it was Rampage that beat Chuck, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then I think that there's an interview somewhere with Dana when he said about that's one of the main, if not the main reason why he'll never, ever, ever take his stars outside of the UFC again because it wasn't reciprocated. I think
Yeah.
they went first.
They never brought Fedor over, did they?
Fedor or Sakharov or anyone else. There is a legitimate story behind it.
Yeah.
And they learned the hard way and he's like, that's it, I'm never doing it again.
I wonder how Sakharov would have done, because he'd have probably been a middleweight, wouldn't he? Like, he was fighting at 200 pounds, but he was not cutting any weight, and he was pretty soft.
He could have made welter probably.
Probably, yeah.
But just, the guy didn't care.
Yeah, no.
The guy was, most of the time, he was putting out a cigarette
Yeah.
before he walked in. Prolific chain smoker, wasn't he?
I remember Peter Angerer from Germany. Do you remember him? He used to
Yes,
fight in all the Cage
yeah.
Warriors. Jimmy fought him. And he used to be smoking cigarettes and eating chips before his fights. I always remember that.
Some fighters I've seen, I mean, I don't think there's many now.
No, probably not anymore. No one's nipping out the back of the Apex to have a quick smoke on it before.
Definitely not. I can't think of one.
No.
And if they do, it's probably well away from.
Yeah.
I'm not smoking.
Joe Schilling always smokes cigarettes before sparring and fights. I always remember
Crazy.
that because I sparred with him a few times at Frank Mears' gym, and I remember him standing in the roller shutter door having a cigarette,
And then
just
walking in the
walking
ring.
straight in and getting his gloves on and sparring.
15 rounds.
And he was honestly
Vicious.
of all the people I've sparred with. For Thai boxing, Joe Schilling stood out as one of the best. He was just so relaxed and long and punishing from a distance. He used to have a gym downtown in Los Angeles called The Yard, and all of his fighters were proper hard nuts, proper scrappers.
It's called the yard,
Yeah,
mate.
exactly.
It's
yeah,
a
it was like
connotation
prison.
on its
yeah,
own.
it's
isn't it?
brilliant. Really cool. Big fan of his fighting style. Yeah. Anyway, shall we get into the actual topic?
Yeah,
we
what
can't
we
be
do-
streaming this mystery. We can't be streaming this live. Are we streaming? Are we?
I was about to.
Oh no, have you been streaming? That's all right. Yeah, if you have been, we just need to.
Stream. What the fuck are you doing,
I've been
son?
streaming on different platforms.
That's all. Oh, that's all good. Yeah.
Unplatform yourself. This is too good, mate. We're gonna save this for the
For the full stream.
full Monty.
Okay. How do you want to start this? Do you want me to set the table? Do you want to
Yeah,
set the table?
well,
Okay. So there was a video put out recently, which was it was very slanderous and accusatory towards you, which was, of course, something that we need to address. But the other thing as well is there were quite a lot of misconceptions in this video, and the person we're talking about is the MMA guru. His name is the MMA guru. I don't know anything about him. I've never met the kid. I have nothing against him. He seems to think that we have got something against him at Full Reptile. I don't know why. I think you commented on one of his videos a little while back that he was being very complimentary of you and how beautiful you are. Well, she is beautiful. I can't disagree with him.
That would be one of the misconceptions. I remember he's saying in the video, "They hate me." This and that. Son, you're not important enough to hate. You're not. It's not a case of. I don't use that word. I don't hate. You could not be further from the truth.
No.
I think that in the discussion, what will probably come out is obviously, with your following and this, that, and the other, and if people notice your work or you get a reaction from it, then it's not just a case of like you said, it's not a case of like a throwaway comment or this, that, and the other, because that's not what this video was about.
No.
And a bit like we deal with throwaway comments all the time.
Of course.
And we just ignore them and move on. It's money for old rope. As my
Part of
granny,
the game, isn't it?
yeah, of course
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
As my granny used to say, "You're big and ugly enough to," you know what I mean. You just deal with it. It is what
You've
it
always
is.
been big and ugly then.
I told you, I wasn't. Oh, did you just say yeah? you would like my handsomeness. No, I never was. But I told you before, I used to be quite small. And my mate was like, he come to the door one day, he's gone, "Fucking hell." It was like Tom Hanks and big. I've gone to bed. So I'm trying to keep smaller because the last time I got up, the microphone went everywhere. forgot where I was going then.
We were just talking about you being big and ugly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
throwaway comments,
throwaway
yeah, we're
comment,
not,
whatever
you know,
it is. But
whatever.
what we're dealing with here, Dan, is there's a video out in public domain that he's obviously gathered traction with, and the problem with this video is obviously it's not a case of someone's opinion, which we will factually dismantle. It's the fact that his so-called observations are accusations, and I can't ignore that.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the whole 21st century fake news thing, isn't it? Like he's spun a narrative about a fight which isn't true, which is slanderous towards you, and it discredits you as a referee.
Yeah.
And because he's got an audience and he's presented, I mean, there are videos out there that are very convincing about the Earth being flat, and there are a lot of people that believe it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and conspiracy this and conspiracy
exactly
that.
Like, what the main thing is, honestly, MMA Guru. Like, if you want friends, mate, just like tweet at me or something. We'll be mates. He just seems to me like he wants, because in his response video towards you, he was incredibly giddy when you tweeted back at him. He was very excitable. Like he's an MMA fan who just wants to be a part of the community.
Yeah.
And dude, be a part of the community. At the moment, you're acting like a fart in an elevator, though, and it's just kind of off-putting for anybody that has a legitimate stance in the industry.
I'll
to take you seriously.
I'll offer him that. Like you said, it's like that. He's, you know, and I want to remain completely factual, and I want to remain professional in a way, because, like I said, addressing it's he's probably going to be thrilled at being addressed.
Yeah.
And I did actually address him before because, like I said, to set the scene, obviously I'll get various notifications and this, that, and the other going, have you seen the video? Have you seen this? And I was like, I genuinely didn't know who the guy was. I didn't know he had a YouTube, probably 1,001 or 10,001 people out there.
Yeah, see, I see, like, sometimes on our live streams, someone will pop up and someone will just keep putting MMA Guru. And if they keep flooding the stream, I'll just put them in timeout, like a kid that won't shut up in a back seat. You know what I mean? Mommy. It's like, Stewie, just give us a minute. Like, all right, dude, we know you're there.
But anyway, he had this thing. He's going, oh yeah, he was genuinely like, oh yeah, and he's so angry and this, that, and the other. No, mate.
Like, I mean, that's something that Mystery said when he first got here. Maybe he is just a fucking wind-up merchant. Like, I think he's a bit phone jacker. I think he wants to be funny.
No problem about that.
The problem is he's spreading misinformation in a sport where we need to make sure that some of the information is correct.
You can be the troll, whatever you want to be, and you can do it. That's cool. No problem. Whatever your gimmick is, wherever your shtick is, and you're basing that off the back of somebody who's a gimmick and a shtick, which we'll get into. But like you said, it's a slanderous, inflammatory accusation that he's making. It's not a case of observation. Listen, I get observations made on me for a living. We're cool with that. 99% of which people don't understand. That's okay.
Yeah.
We live that life. But when you're making accusations that are out there in the public domain, I'm addressing it for, like we said about, does this person want to get noticed? Well, congrats, mate. You are noticed. Yeah. You have got my full undivided attention.
Yeah.
And if that's what gets you,
I think honestly that's what he wants. I do. I think that's what he wants. Because I think like the nature of the way he pops up in the live stream, his name, it seems like it's one of his other accounts, and it seems like he just creates a lot of accounts, spends a lot of time on YouTube creating new stuff and commenting on his own shit. And it, like, whenever, like, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was a person. I just saw someone posting live on the live stream. So I would just put him in timeout, or one of the other guys would put him in timeout. And then you said, "Have you seen this video?" And this was the first video I'd watched of him. And I didn't realize
people would say, like, I get all the time, you done this, you done that, and then people, I was like, what is this? And then there's like random comments on Instagram and Twitter, and have you seen that? I was like, well, what video? And it was the genuine first thing. And then I actually put 2 tweets out when I seen it, and I was like, I've watched it, and I was saying about, listen, man, this kid, he's a guy with a hat calling himself the guru, blah, blah. And I deleted the tweets. And the reason I deleted it was because I just thought, I'll let it go away. It's fucking, you know what I mean? It's negative. And the only thing that negativity is good for is breeding more negativity. And I didn't want to do it. And then I saw his response videos. Oh, he's so angry and he was so happy. And I was like, you couldn't be further from the truth. It would be very easy. It would be basic but very easy for me to come on here and just say you're this, you're that, and be inflammatory and like he was, derisory and abusive, which we have there. And I'll make a genuine open offer to him. I have 2 offers for him, genuine, that I'll make for him. It'd be easy to do that.
Is it an eating contest? Because he did call you a fat pig.
Do you know what I mean? One of, in one of, and I was like,
You can't do an objective video.
wait, I don't want to steal away from it.
Okay,
we're gonna have to come back
All
to
right,
this.
okay, look,
so we'll set the scene as obviously this. People said that this video. So I looked at it in there, and the video was more or less entitled about was Kamaru. We're going back to the original, the Kamaru Usman Colby fight. Which is it's coming up to 3 years old now.
Is it really? Yeah.
The first one of the best fights I've ever officiated. And what will make sense, hopefully, at the end of this podcast is how incredibly difficult that fight was. And then obviously what happened was a character in Colby perpetuated and accentuated a narrative. And what we know, obviously, in our realm is that the vast majority of social media are not clever enough to
distinguish,
to think for themselves, distinguish or look past. They're just going to believe things.
Dude, that clip that you got with Colby, the little him behind the character. Have you seen that clip?
I have saw it.
Of him just going, it's what sells. It was.
Of course, but people, like you
people
said,
don't see it.
Most of Twitter in particular, but all forms of social media, they're fucking mental, mate. They're crazy. But let me make one thing clear. And it's kind of like, this is where I keep using the word accentuate, perpetuate, because it will motivate people like him to take this narrative. And it's very easy. I can almost understand it in a way, because it's very easy to look at something that you don't understand and offer opinion. Anyone can do that. How valued and correct is your opinion? What I'm very pragmatic, and obviously as our job is, it's factual based, you know what I mean? And that's what I want to do, is obviously, like we said, the reason for doing this was, it's not just a throwaway comment.
No.
It's abusive, it's slander, this, that and the other.
And there's genuine misconceptions.
Oh, mate, like you wouldn't believe.
You sent me this video. You said, have a look at this. Go on.
Yeah. So, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I was just going to play the very start of it, because the bit about the very first bit.
Tell them the title first. Tell them that, because it starts with the title.
What is it, V? Will you pull the video up for me? Type in MMA Guru Goddard. Give him another view on his video.
The title.
Give him a thumbs up. Give him a like.
The title was actually...
Subscribe to him.
And I hope
he wants
that
friends.
I'm genuine here when I say about I have some offers for him.
Yeah.
I'm genuine in the fact that, obviously, from my own, I have every right to defend my name. Not that I have to, but I was thinking, well, you know, because like I said, it's throwaway. But this is a video in existence that he's got my attention. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So, and the title was...
The title was, did Kamaru Usman illegally finish Colby Covington? ? Was Mark Goddard in on it?
Right. Stop right there.
Thank you very much. We need some...
So was Mark Goddard in on it?
Were you?
In on what? With
in
who?
On it, but you went and shook Usman's hand.
Stop. No, don't steal from it, mate. Please don't steal from it. We're going to get a serious mode now. But like you said,
I want to play this bit.
Hey, I know, but hang on.
Go on.
And I did say in the tweet, I'm going to drive a bus through it.
Yeah.
I'm fucking sat in the bus. I'm sat in the bus.
The war room bus.
The war room bus.
Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
So the very title of we start right at the beginning.
Yes.
The very nature of the title was is Mark Goddard in on what? What am I in on? And with who? You know, it's basically, you know, you're trying to insinuate that there's foul play, this, that, and the other. I mean, anyway, it'll come out. So before we go into obviously looking through the video, there was actually 5 main points that he addressed, and he put all this time into it. And we'll look at the points individually. There was 5 main points that he addressed, and obviously what I'm saying, I mentioned it before, was you have a character in a particular fighter, and that's exactly what it is. Obviously, he appeals to a certain demographic, a certain audience, and then there's what we said, because they just don't have the ability to look past certain things and understand. And then you've got this guy, by the title of his, what do you call it? And then if you look at his other, like I said, I had no idea who he was. I didn't know. I was like, MMA Guru, what's this? Then I've looked at the video, and then I looked at his other videos. I looked at one other video, and it was actually he was offering some form, again, opinion, when he was talking about Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena, and it was an entirely derogatory and divisive, where he's mocking them for their ability to strike in their fight, their first fight. And he was saying about, and when I watched that, it kind of made a lot of sense. I was like, okay, so this is the kind of person, that's when I was saying, it must be satire what he's doing.
Yeah.
He must want to create something, because he's not someone there to, he's obviously cultivated an audience, etc. This is probably by far and away his most successful narrative that he's ran with.
For sure.
So
he tries to agitate people, it seems.
And
you know
he
what I mean?
thinks like it's a win. Like this, like I said, it would be very easy. It would be easy to throw out. The worst I said to him was, "You're a clown." So the guy's a clown. He's in a woolly hat, etc., blah, blah, blah. And people were laughing. And then he's like, he hates me and this, that, and the other. Like I said, you don't know me. You can be further from the truth. But anyway, so I saw the first video that he made. The second video was obviously the second one that I looked at was the video that he made about mocking Nunes and Pena, and I was like, this is the level of the person. So the people that don't know what we're talking about, feel free to look for you. You'll make your own mind up. I'm not gonna tell you what to think. So going back to the video in question, what we're going to discuss was obviously him saying about setting that narrative to begin with, and I'm like, what exactly does he mean? In on what, with who? And then he went through several points. There was 5 main points of contention that, and again, offering opinion. And that's what this is, opinion. We said before, he's also offered opinion on him mocking rudimentary striking by, I'm not saying people aren't free to their opinion. In my thing, it's more about a considered or an educated opinion. I just got no time for people that openly mock fighters, especially at that level. Listen, the consensus GOAT of the consensus female GOAT and Amanda Nunes, as much as you might throw, but to actually put a video out, and you're
the point of difference is right. Like if it's before the Usman Covington fight, you put a video out giving your prediction on what's going to happen, your opinion on what's going to happen, but taking the fight afterwards and going through and creating a narrative over what you say is not an opinion, it's an accusation. And that's the problem. That's the problem that we're dealing with right now.
That's what I said.
My main issue is that there are people watching these videos that are like swept up in the narrative and drinking that Kool-Aid and thinking that he knows what he's talking about. Unfortunately, anybody that actually knows anything about MMA would never refer to themselves as an MMA guru. Like, all of the people on the planet that I could think of that I go, well, that person's an MMA guru, that person's an MMA guru. Not one of those people would go, I'm an MMA guru. They would never name themselves
That's why I was thinking it's satire.
That's why I think it's a parody. He's like, it is a little bit.
It is, which is fine.
But then you sent me that video, and I started watching it, and the very first point he makes, immediately I just checked out.
So let's get into that before we go that further.
Do you want me to play the clip?
No, 1 second, because it's a very important thing. So, obviously, like we said, and it kind of plays into people like him that put out opinion, because that's all it is, what they believe or what they think they know, which is actually next to fuck all, which we will substantiate and prove factually, not opinionated. So I'll start from the beginning. Obviously, one of the things that happened after that Colby and Usman fight, which, again, one of my favourite fights of all time, incredibly difficult fight to keep a hold of and actually officiate, and all the points I look at, I'm still incredibly proud of the way in which I handled that fight, which we'll see why, when I go through this. Like I said about reflection, and also nobody's more critical about me than me. Nobody. I'm always reviewing and trying to see what I'm doing, etc. There's 1,000,001 needle fights I've had, high velocity, intense fights, and that was a really intense fight. Obviously, there was needle between the two, etc. But one of the points I'll make is Colby said a lot of things because that's what a character does, and we've already established that the vast majority, or it seems to be, it's like a negative thing. You know, when you said about when people have a negative experience or they want to say something negative, they're ready to do it. If you eat at a bad restaurant, you're going to write, you'll tell everybody, you'll tell all and sundry. But if you eat at a really good one, will you tell nearly as many as, will you tell
people are inclined
nearly
to
as many?
complain and
of course,
and
that's the way it
criticise,
is. So when you're looking in there, but I get some incredible fans of the sport with incredible messages, etc., etc. I may not respond to them all, but know that I see them all, and I'm very thankful and respectful for those people. Anyway, so one of the first, Colby said a lot of narratives, and one of the first things he addressed was, he said, and this will help people get a factual understanding. He said, when I went into it started at the beginning. He's come into the locker room, saw me, get over here. Now, you know me, Dan. The fighters, the amount of fighters I've done, you know, I've been, you stop counting at several thousand, you know. That's not how you address fighters. I was one, I've been one, I've been at the respect and everything's there. So always going, and of course, again, the narrative and the people that can't think for themselves going, surely that couldn't have happened. They'll believe it, they'll run with it. So we'll put that one to bed first, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. So we're going to the dressing room as I always do. And what people won't understand and what they won't know, certainly our good friend the Guru will have no fucking idea of, is that in the UFC, the assignments that the referees get will go and talk to the fighters individually. Furthermore, on top of that, when you do in the state of Nevada a main event or a world championship fight, you will be accompanied to the championship fighters with the executive director of Nevada State Athletic Commission, at that time was Bob Bennett, and you will also have a representative of the commission themselves, so the person that Bob answers to. So I actually went there. There was 3 of us that went, me, the executive director, Bob Bennett, and I think it was Anthony Marnell, one of the commissioners. So we're going to the room. Hey, Colby, how you doing? Shake hands. We have a very good chat, a great chat, etc., etc. I tell him what I expect. Well, I always ask them if they have any questions. I begin with that and end with that. And we'll go over just some protocols and things. And everything was great. The last thing, I'm my boy, the last thing that happened before I left that dressing room was Colby looking in my eyes, shaking my hand and saying, thank you, and I'm glad you're my ref. That's the last thing. That was the last interaction we had. And like I said, executive director, commissioner there. If you don't believe me or believe them, go and ask Conan Silveira, who was the American top team head coach. I've refed his fighters for years, championship fighters, mainly Amanda Nunes. He stood right there too. So if you're that lazy and silly to believe narratives and think that I would actually do that as a professional, a little bit of insight as to what actually happens, how we go and talk to the fighters and address them. And like I said, last thing before I left the dressing room, Colby shook my hand and he thanked me and he said, I'm glad you're my referee.
Yeah.
So we move on and we get to the fight. And this is obviously where the first point that our esteemed friend, the Guru, made was, you see, I don't know if you're going to play it, whatever.
Yeah. Well, first,
I'll let you go.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I think it's important for this is because, first of all, the title of it is "Were you in on it?" So the accusation is that before the fight's even started, some kind of communication has happened between you and the Usman camp, and you are going to assist him in some kind of victory. Yeah,
because there's insinuation.
That's
there.
the insinuation.
Direct insinuation.
Because the first point he makes is he's talking about the fact that you shake hands.
The referee, in my opinion, was extremely biased.
Can we hear this, mystery?
And there's a lot of examples that I'm about to show you in today's video, and we're going to go through them start to finish, including, in my opinion, an illegal finish. Maybe for the first time in UFC championship history, I believe Kamaru Usman technically...
Wait a minute, where are we?
Let's start straight away here.
Here we go.
At the beginning. I've never seen a referee do this before.
That's the first stumbling block. You've never seen a referee do this before. That's the first stumbling block. Now, let me just take over War Room for 2 minutes here.
Absolutely.
Because this. Now, what you'll see a bit further on in the show, right next to his little face here, right in this space, is that there's a BT. So you can see that he's watching on the BT Sports stream, which means he's not getting the full footage of everything that's going on. So the point where he has now joined the fight, Covington's already in the octagon. Usman's already making his way to the octagon. Like, he's missed a big chunk of what's going on. The statement that he's making is that you go over to Usman and shake his hand, but you never go over to Covington's corner. Okay, let me just finish him.
Okay. Colby Covington getting ready in his corner, doing some little sprints back and forth. I've never seen a referee do this during the announcement ceremony of both fighters. Kamaru Usman getting ready in his corner, and what does Marc Goddard do? Quick little handshake with Kamaru Usman before.
Quick little handshake. What could have been in that palm? I bet there were $100 bills folded up in the palm of that glove, Mark. Like, first of all, like, but this is the thing. This is the point where he's joining the stream, and this is the narrative that he's picked up on. The problem is that because he's not watching on Fight Pass, and he's not got the full angle of it. The bit that he's missing is the bit where you go over and shake Covington's hand.
Shall we factually put this one to bed?
Well, for sure. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of this handshake. What, 14 times in my time?
Many times.
Exactly.
So here's the first. Obviously, when I looked at that first point, I didn't really want to go any further. And I'm thinking, but people can't think from this, as we know. So the guys, this is where I have the first problem, obviously, is the title of the video. Mm-hmm. The second is obviously the narrative that he's fully subscribed to. Mm-hmm. The third is I've obviously explained to you the interaction we had before the fight. You're that much of a guru. You're that invested in the sport. You pay that much attention. You've done your homework so fucking thoroughly. I've been a referee, an MMA referee for 18 years. I've been a referee in UFC for 14 years. Every single fight, every single fighter, regardless of UFC or not, Bellator, Cage Warriors, UAE Warriors, go back in all time, there's a 14-year history of me in the UFC. What do you see me do before every fight?
You go and shit both competitors.
Championship or not.
Don't matter.
But people don't have it in their ability to go, shit, the camera actually cut off. Doesn't matter. No, go back to what I said, the first interaction me and Colby had in the dressing room. They're looking, and again, that's why you can see these people, because it's the conviction. Mm-hmm. They're so steadfast in their belief.
For sure.
He shook his hand on camera.
Yeah. Well, that's confirmation.
Because Colby is the challenger, is the first person out.
Of course. So he's already on the other side. You've already gone to him.
I've already shook his hand.
I know you have, yeah.
But no.
Oh, no.
Factually, so play the rest of it, you'll hear what he says.
But when you put it together with everything else that went down in this fight, and I think I'm going to show you later on as well, it's very strange. And Usman gives him a little smile and a look, like, yeah, a little handshake before. I've never seen a referee come over and shake a hand of a fighter during the announcement ceremony of a title fight. And what does Marc Goddard do after this? The camera cuts away, and he goes and stands in a neutral corner. He doesn't go up to Covington. He hasn't been up to Covington this entire time. He just goes over to shake Usman's hand, and then goes and stands behind Bruce Buffer.
Press pause. So
I've already I paused.
Yeah, before we kill this one. So the point I'm making on your first point, you're a guru. Mm-hmm. You're invested. You're looking at this, that, and the other. 18 years a ref, 14-year tenure in the UFC. Every single fight, go back and pull up any fight, and by way of magic. The part that you didn't see, because as you said, the broadcast that you missed. Let's just play it,
mate. Well, this is the point when I tuned out of his video, and I actually switched on to the other one, which I showed you, which is not nearly as funny as this. So MMA Guru, I'm talking directly to you now, my friend. This is off the Fight Pass feed. It took me 2 minutes to find this morning. And off the back of this, I spent the next 5 minutes while I was listening to the rest of your video, your ramble. I went and found a whole bunch of other examples of you shaking people's hands. So this is from the feed that you don't see. So this is Covington here. He's walking over towards, there's Goddard in the neutral corner. look at the bottom. There's the P3 logo. I want you to identify that logo and make sure you know that that's where Goddard is. Now Covington's going to walk back over to his corner, little squat, little jump, and then we're going to cut out to a big screen. Right, same shot. Covington's still in his corner, okay? I'm going to zoom right in so you can see what's going on in the cage here. There's your P3 logo. This is Marc Goddard now standing here waiting to speak to Covington. Something else that I noticed while I was going through this is that you wait until you're not going to be on shot most of the time. You try and wait until the shot is done with that fighter to go over and shake their hand.
That's it.
Doesn't always happen, but that's what was happening here. You're waiting. Then watch what happens. You
Sorry,
go
mate.
over.
This is important. You're gonna kill it dead anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you said that, because obviously from martial arts and training, that's somewhat, I'm very mindful of that. When a fighter gets into that cage, the last thing I want to do immediately, because there's a psychological feeling out process. You got to give them their moment. Some of them sprint across the octagon, they move back and forth, they're getting in place, all that. So
I noticed specifically with Aldo, because he stands with his head down.
I want to give them that psychological space. But like I said, every fight is cage. Every promotion you'll see, it's a ritual that I do. I've always gone and shook the hands of both. So him saying he's never saw it in a. Anyway.
Well, look, there you are. There you are. That's you right there. Hang on, I can't draw on it if I'm zoomed out. So there you are right there, and you're going to walk across. And you're going to speak to Covington here. Now, of course, that is absolutely tiny on this screen, but fortunately, it's also on the big screen up here at the top, look, and we can zoom in on that. So there's Covington in his corner, and there's you tapping him on his back, and you offering your hand. Oh, hang on. That looks like a hand being offered just there to Covington. So does that mean you're in on it with both of them then? Come on. And like I said, like after I did that, I thought to myself, I'm going to find a couple other examples for you, just to kind of reinforce it, so you recognise this boy. Here we go.
No, stop right there, then.
Little fist bump.
So just before you reinforce, this is the guru who's never seen this.
Never seen it
in a championship fight.
Never seen it.
Never seen a referee do this before ever.
Never seen
the fact that I do it to every fighter, irrespective of promotion, level, title, prelim, amateurs, anything.
Little fist bump. Then we pull out. Here's Kelvin Gastelum on the other side. Wait for it. Little fist bump. Oh, hang on. You're in on it with both of these as well, Mark.
What am I doing?
Wait for it. Who's next? Oh, hang on. Chad Mendes. In on it with Chad Mendes as well. Goddard. Unbelievable. There's DC. And this is what you were talking. And this is why I left this clip long, because I knew you were going to make this point. You like to give him this space.
Yeah.
DC's
always.
done his laps. Like, you're acknowledging, you know that DC's there, but you're just staying out of it.
Yeah.
He goes back to his corner. He does his little bob around. He pulls his shorts up over his belly button. And then he goes over to his corner. And then in that moment where you feel like the attention's now off him, it's going back to the full screen. There you come in. Little handshake with DC. I mean, honestly, there are options. There you are with Vettori. The fact that he's never seen it.
You're actually picking world championship fights.
What? I picked this one because you shake hands with both of them, one after the other.
It's always.
Here we go. So Vettori first, challenger. Adesanya second, champion. I mean, like, that's the thing. As soon as I saw that clip, I was like, check out. This guy is not. He's watching highlights of fights and then giving his opinion on stuff.
Correct. Of which, like, I'm gonna throw him a bone here, and I'll say, because the people don't have the ability to think for themselves. I'll throw him a bone. I'm not gonna say I can understand it, because I wouldn't want to be so verbose like he is and make myself look a fucking idiot and stupid, not knowing what I'm talking about. You've just randomly selected. He's never saw this before ever in a title fight. You've just showed half a dozen guys who do it. And like I said, it's not just going. Like I said, I have a 40.
Very interesting on its own, maybe nothing. The first time I've ever seen it in UFC history.
First time he's ever seen it in UFC history. So, MMA Guru, welcome to the War Room. This is the UFC. Watch it, because you will love it. Don't just watch the bits that you see on Instagram, because you're not going to get the full picture. It frustrates the hell out of me when people form opinions based on the scraps that they find in their hands that they scratch from their ass.
How do you think I feel?
Oh, mate, honestly, I felt for you when I was watching
I'm the
this.
subject of this.
But I just tuned it out.
But
I didn't
anyway.
get to the point where he started
But
calling
anyway,
your names.
so the first part is obviously the shaking hands.
Mm-hmm.
Totally and utterly, factually dispelled.
Mm-hmm.
Gone.
Okay. So the first one now is the groin shot, right?
The second point. So
The
his
second point
first
is the
point
groin
of
shot.
contention was his first point of contention was me not shaking hands with Kamaru's opponent.
This is the bit I left in. So, see, because this is the order in which I received MMA Guru into my life. You sent me the link to that video. I watched up to that point when he made that statement. I'm like, this guy doesn't watch the UFC. And I just switched it off. And I thought, hang on a minute. Let me have a little look, see what he's all about. Because I do see MMA Guru popping up on our live stream feed. And you're welcome, mate. You know, come and have a chat with
Live
us.
stream feed of what?
When we're premiering stuff on the channel, like one of his other accounts, he'll keep posting MMA Guru and he'll just flood it until it gets boring. So I'll just put him in timeout for 3 minutes, and
Okay.
I think that's one of the reasons why he's upset with the channel. So this was the next video I looked at, right? And I've cut a piece of sound out here because there's homophobic and racist slurs in it, and
then when I was thinking like I'm gonna go full force in this YouTube career,
I picked it up after
I was
that
in
part.
the Uber back home from work, and I was listening to this. I got into the Uber on the way home from work once, and then this music
That's my
started
bad editing.
playing, and this is when I knew it was my destiny to be a YouTuber that was famous.
All I wanna do is smoke weed and listen to the guru.
I kind of like the song, I must admit.
I had to resist the urge of like shooting up a school or something, but it was pretty good motivational.
I mean, I just want to put into context, the same person that broke down you being in on it with the Kamaru Usman video is also resisting the urge to shoot up a school, listening to one of the songs that he wrote himself. And if you listen to this video, you go back a bit further, there are racist and homophobic slurs all the way throughout, and he seems pretty proud of it. I think he's a very unhealthy individual. I think he wants attention. I think he wants a hug. I think he wants some friends. Dude, come out of your cave, man. The MMA world will embrace you. You just can't act like a fart in an elevator all the time because it's not going to work for you. This is literally just going to pull your video apart, unfortunately. And we're not trying to shit on you, but you're spreading fake narratives, it's just going to confuse people about what MMA is all about.
No, I am going to shit on him.
Well, okay.
But I'll make the point here entirely factually.
Okay.
Because it would be very easy, like I said, is to sit here and go off on one. I think we've already established he likes that kind of reaction. He thinks people hate him. I feel sorry for you if that's what you think. I hope you get what you need. I don't hate anybody. Like I said, you're not important enough to hate, but you are important enough to get my attention to right the wrongs in which you're flooding people out there with. But
what he's done is, thankfully, and thank you, MMA Guru, and everyone go and give him a follow, because what he wants is subs and likes, and if that's what's going to make him happy and stop acting like this, then go and give it him. There's the BT in the corner. Look, you can see where he's getting his stream from, up in the top corner. That's why he's missed that part at the start.
So the second contention, five-banner contention.
Okay, so this is the groin shot part.
Yeah.
58. Let me find it quickly here. 8:58. We go to the groin shot conundrum that went down between Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. Let me take you back to where the impact of the groin shot happened. And this is, of course, a very tense moment where Covington was doing very well against Usman. He was landing some pretty big shots. And we see this kind of cuff the guard of Usman.
Stop there. So what's the first thing he says? Kind of cuff the guard. He's
Yeah, when he says the guard, he means the cup, though.
by his own volition there.
Groin
He's
guard.
noticed that he kicked and made contact with the groin guard.
Yeah.
In reality, the impact of this shot to begin with, where did it land to begin with? This shot landed around the belly button area of Kamaru Usman. I don't know how high up the groin of Usman is, but I know his groin is around here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it touched the top of the guard, but in my opinion, this is a bit silly.
I pulled a better quality clip because he had a really, really shitty quality clip. Just because I want people to be able to see it a bit clearer. Now, first of all, that is the response of someone that's never worn a cup and been kicked in a cup, because a cup is elasticated. Like, you have the hard cup at the front, and then you have an elasticated waistband, and then 2 elasticated straps that go up and connect at the back.
Or it could be like the tie cups with
But people
laces.
don't really wear them in the
Yeah,
UFC
either
because
or.
you can't have a metal
The
cup
cup is
anymore,
still in
can
the
you?
same
Right.
position.
So you're in this kind of elasticated fitting, whether it's the shorts or the cup. What it seems to me happen here, and as it happens, you kind of subconsciously feel it, don't you? Like, I felt this. Like, you can kind of feel it. It kind of catches the cup on the way up and then drags it on the way down, which pulls the waistline and snaps it back. I've had this done myself. The other thing as well, and the reason why I wanted to grab this bit, is because you can see clearly where the foot lands.
On the belt. It's actually the foot lands on the belt, which is there's not a problem with the foot. It's not whether on the belt is legal, below the belt is illegal. So whether it was, people were saying he kicked him in the liver. Now, I am no doctor,
No,
but I also know that nobody's liver resides in the top of their leg, either or. What that
Liver
clip,
King's all liver, I think.
that clip that you're on about. So again, factually, you know, he admits himself that. Yeah, that's exactly what it did. And what I also have that no one else has, you won't hear that. You'll get an audible sound as well a lot of the time. So it's actually not the foot; it's actually the top of the foot where it meets the ankle, like the very bottom of the shin. That's what makes contact and displaces the cup momentarily.
It's this drag down,
Not
isn't
the
it?
kick, not where the kick lands. And you can see that. Look, it's on the belt. It's covering the UFC logo. Look, stop. Arguably, you say below, but it's not. It's just where Kamaru's slightly slouched over.
Yeah.
It's on the belt. No problem with where the foot lands. Clearly not on the liver. On the belt, top of the hip, and that was fine. It's not where the foot lands. It's what actually happened on the way up.
Yeah.
It's the bottom of the shin, the top of the foot that's brushed and moved the cup.
I would say catch it on the way down there as well.
Either or.
But
And as a referee, of course, something that he wouldn't know is that when that happens, if somebody makes contact with a cup there, I have to give. I've just watched it happen. I have to give.
Yeah.
And if a fighter shows discomfort in there, regardless of what I think, etc., how hard it was, is that I'm there to ensure fair play. I want to ensure fair play. I want to get it right. I'm not perfect. I'm not God, but you can bet your bottom dollar I want to be as damn near perfect as I can. I don't actually believe perfection exists.
No.
Even after all I'm not perfect, but I try to be. I'm at a level of detail and attention that few in this world will understand. My colleagues will understand, but certainly
They do. They talk about it. They talk about it. They feel pressured when you're there because they know you're tuned into everything.
But certainly nobody who's sat in a bedroom watching a video. And again, it would be very easy for me to be disparaging and throw. I don't even have to be. I want to be entirely factual and professional for the basis of what we're doing.
Anyway, if you look at the replay of this, because